Going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. We had another crazy week of football this past week, especially Sunday with the NFL. We also had some baseball. We are heading down the stretch. We have about another just over 2 weeks or so until we get to the postseason. We have the last day of the regular season for the MLB. It's about October 4th or October 5th. So just over 2 weeks for that. American League Central, Cleveland Guardians have a 3.5 game lead over the Chicago White Sox. Twins are now 6 back. Twins have really played themselves out of contention. Weird because that division is terrible. I've said it many times before. The Guardians are 12 games over 500, and they are in first place. Like if they were in the National League, I do not think they would even be in the playoffs. Yeah, they would not be in the playoffs nationally, and because they're in the National, they have a 3.5 game division lead with 16 games to go in the season. The Twins, who were in first place for most of the season in that division, I thought did a good job of the trade deadline. They picked up Tyler Mahle from the Reds to boost their rotation. They added to their pitching staff, which is something that I thought they needed to do. And then since the break, they have not played well. They are currently a 500 team, and they've fallen pretty much out of contention. White Sox playing a little bit better, now 5 games over 500. Got within 3.5 games, but the Guardians are also playing very well. So, Guardians in first place, the AL East, Yankees trying to hang on. They're 5.5 games ahead of Toronto. Tampa is 6 back. Obviously, they have not been near the same team in the first half of the season. It looked like they may have the best record in their regular season ever by any team. That's gone completely out the window. 5.5 game lead over Toronto. American League West, Houston Astros, 15 game lead over Seattle. Houston's playing some great baseball. Seattle is slumping a bit. They're definitely cooling off, obviously at the very wrong time. And also, the Houston Astros have officially clinched the playoffs. They have clinched the playoffs, I believe, the 7th time in the last 8 years, and for the 6th year in a row. They have the best record in the American League, 96-51. They are about 7.5, 8 games clear of the Yankees for the best record in the American League. National League Central, Cardinals, 8 game lead over the Brewers. It looks like they're going to win that division. They've had a really good year. They were like neck and neck with Milwaukee all season. Never really behind more than 4 or 5 games. There were times they would get within a game or so. There were a couple of times they would go ahead by a game or two. But then once Brewers traded away Hader, they kind of fell off. And also the Cardinals, they hit their stride. They made some moves at the deadline. Since the break, they've been one of the league's best teams, honestly, and they've charged ahead. National League East, one of the best division races we've seen probably in the last 2 years. Got 2 90-win teams already, and there's still a couple weeks left in the season. Mets lead Atlanta by a game. The Mets, after getting swept by the Cubs in a 3-game set, swept a 4-game series with the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Braves also took all 3 from the Philadelphia Phillies. So the Mets remain a game ahead of Atlanta. The Mets start a 3-game series in Milwaukee tonight. They will get back their star starting pitcher, Max Scherzer, who's been out the last couple weeks with an oblique injury. Also going to get some reinforcements back in the bullpen. Tyler Miguel, who was pitching well as a starter earlier in the year before he had an injury, which caused him to struggle. He's been out for a few months. They're expected to get him back in the bullpen tonight or tomorrow. And Drew Smith, who was one of their best relievers, has been out for a couple months. He was one of their best relievers when he was healthy. They're expected to get him back tomorrow. So the Mets getting some reinforcements. Starling Marte is going to be out a little bit longer than we thought with that fractured finger, but he still does think he can get back by the time the regular season is over, which is big for the Mets because he's one of their best hitters and one of their best players. Braves start, I said at 3 against the league's worst team, the Washington Nationals. National West, of course, the Dodgers 101-44. That seems like a typo almost. That's crazy. 17 games to go, and they already have 101 wins. Already clinched the National League West. The Padres are a playoff team, and they're 21 games clear of the Padres, who are a playoff team. That's crazy. The wild card race in the American League, the first wild card right now is the Toronto Blue Jays. They have a 2-game lead for the first wild card. The second wild card right now is Tampa, who is a 1.5 lead for that second wild card spot ahead of the third wild card, which is the Seattle Mariners, who are slumping a bit. They are the last wild card spot in the American League. They're a 1.5 behind Tampa for the second spot and 2 games behind Toronto for the first wild card spot. And on the outside looking in, the Baltimore Orioles are 4 games back. Orioles still hanging in there. Seattle's struggling a bit. They're 4 games out. For Orioles, whom we thought would be typical Orioles season the last few years, another probably 100-loss season. Maybe they get to 70 wins, but they already have 76 wins. We got a couple weeks left in the season, so very positive progress from the Orioles. In the National League, first wildcard is the Atlanta Braves. They have an 11-game lead for that first spot in that National League East. Whoever does not win the division will be the first wildcard in the National League. I believe the Mets win tonight against the Brewers. They clinch the playoffs. And the Braves should be probably following suit. I'm not sure exactly what the number is, but I wonder if they can get a sweep in Washington, if that would do it for them. It's going to happen one way or another. Second wildcard spot is now San Diego. They are now a half game ahead of the Phillies. The Phillies just got swept in the 7-3 against Atlanta, so the Padres are now a half game ahead of the Phillies for the second spot. But the Phillies do have that last wildcard spot still, and the Milwaukee Brewers are hanging in there. They are 2 games behind Philadelphia for the last wildcard spot, and 2.5 games behind San Diego for the second wildcard spot. So they are very much so in the race. Although the division's gotten away from them, they're now 8 games behind St. Louis, but they are only 2 games behind Philadelphia for the last wildcard spot in the National League. That's what we got for baseball. Like I said, home stretch of the regular season there. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's get into some football. Let's go over the college football scores. Georgia continues to dominate. They beat South Carolina 48-7. They have been dominant. They're the number 1 team in the country for a reason. Alabama, who's ranked second, they beat UL Monroe 63-7. So they roll past UL Monroe. 3-seed Ohio State beat Toledo 77-21. Ohio State scored 77 points in a football game. Not basketball, football. That's crazy. Michigan beat UConn 59-0. That was predictable. UConn's terrible football team playing Michigan's top 4 team in the country. 5-seed Clemson beat Louisiana Tech 48-20. 6-seed Oklahoma beat Nebraska in their first game since firing Scott Frost 49-14. Or the first or second game, either way. Nebraska's terrible. 7-seed USC beat Fresno State 45-17. 8-seed Oklahoma State beat Arkansas Pine 63-7. I don't even know who that is, who Oklahoma State played. Being honest there. 9-seed Kentucky shut out Youngstown State 31-0. Kentucky's look very good. 10-seed Arkansas, they beat Missouri State 38-27. We have a big upset. Unranked Washington beat 11-seed Michigan State 39-28 in a big upset. Michael Penix Jr., 24 out of 40, 397 yards, 4 touchdowns. He had a big game. We had 25-seed Oregon for a bit of an upset over number 12-seeded BYU, 41-20. We had another mini upset. 24-seed Texas A&M rebounds from a brutal loss to Appalachian State in Week 2. They beat 13-seed Miami 17-9. Miami had looked good. They came out of the gates really hot. Their offense unstoppable, but they only scored 9 against Texas A&M, and then they lose their first game of the season. 14-seed Utah against San Diego State. Utah took that one 35-7. 15-seed Tennessee beat Akron 63-6. Goodness gracious. 16-seed North Carolina State over Texas Tech 27-14. 17-seed Baylor over Texas State 42-7. 18-seed Florida beat South Florida in, of course, a rivalry game 31-28. 19-seed Wake Forest squeaks past underranked Liberty 37-36. 20-seed Ole Miss shuts out Georgia Tech 42-0. 21-seed Texas over UTSA 41-20. 22-seed Penn State over Auburn 41-12. And 23-seed Pittsburgh over Western Michigan 34-13. And a side note, in a battle of unranked teams, Appalachian State beat Troy on a game-winning Hail Mary as time expired. Appalachian State's won 2 games in a row. Let's talk about football scores. It was another crazy week in the NFL. First 2 weeks have had a lot of craziness. Chiefs beat the Chargers on Thursday Night Football 27-24. Giants beat the Panthers 16-19. Patriots over the Steelers 17-14. Big game from Nelson Aguilar on that one. Bucks finally beat the Saints in the regular season for the first time since they brought in Tom Brady 20-10. It was a big fight in that game. Tom Brady was visibly frustrated multiple times throughout that game when the offense was struggling early on, and he was I think he was screaming at Marshawn Lattimore, and then Lattimore started going at him. He started going towards where Mike Evans came out and just decked Marshawn Lattimore, ended up a huge brawl, and Mike Evans was actually just suspended for week 3. Bucks will not have their top receiver week 3. Jets have a crazy comeback win against the Browns, 31-30. I was so happy as a Jet fan. The Browns had a 30-17 lead with a minute and a half left and just came all the way back. The Browns scored a rushing touchdown. Nick Chubb from 12 yards out scored a rushing touchdown with under 2 minutes left. The kicker, Cade York, missed an extra point, but still put him up 13 with less than 2 minutes to go. And then Joe Flacco found Corey Davis for a 66-yard score, minute 22 left, to make it 30-24. They just got back the onside kick. Kudos to Greg Zuerlein, perfect onside kick. And then Flacco found Garrett Wilson for a touchdown with 22 seconds left. And then Jacoby Brissett threw an interception on the last drive of the game. Jets have a crazy comeback. They score 14 points from the final minute and a half of that game. Went 31-30. They pulled one out of their backside. Browns completely choked that game. By the way, Browns fans, you guys are disgusting with that, with the happy endings table and like the rubbing shirts with Deshaun Watson. You guys are disgusting. You guys are a horrible fan base. Your organization sucks. They're a worse organization than the Jets, for crying out loud. And you deserve to lose that game. So congratulations, Browns fans. You guys suck. Dolphins, a crazy comeback win over the Ravens, 42-38. The Dolphins trailed by 3 touchdowns entering the fourth quarter. They outscored the Ravens 28-3 in the fourth quarter. Tua Tagovailoa, 469 yards, 6 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill both had monster games. What a comeback for the Dolphins. Jaguars trailed the Colts 24-0. Trevor Lawrence played well. Matt Ryan threw 3 picks. Colts struggling out of the gate 0-1. Lions over the Commanders 36-27. Amon-Ra St. Brown, their top receiver, became the 3rd receiver in NFL history besides Antonio Brown. And the other one, I believe, I forgot who the other one was. It was another big name. I think Mike Evans or something like that, but I know one was Antonio Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown became the 3rd receiver in the history to have 8 straight games for at least 8 catches. He had a big game. If he has at least 8 catches this upcoming week, in week 3, he'll be the only receiver in NFL history with had at least 8 catches in 9 games in a row. That's crazy. 49ers, they rebound. They do beat the Seahawks 27-7, but Trey Lance broke his ankle in the game. He's out for the season. 3rd overall pick last year. Of course, sat last year besides the 2 games that Jimmy G was out, that he started. He's out for a year. Big blow for Lance. But Jimmy Garoppolo's now started. Played well in relief of Trey Lance. And I heard behind closed doors, a lot of the players believe they are a better team with Jimmy Garoppolo anyway. So we'll see where that goes. Rams beat the Falcons 31-27. They had a 28-3 lead at one point and almost choked it. That would have been really funny if the Falcons were famous for blowing the 28-3 Super Bowl lead in 2016. Came back from the 28-3 deficit against the Rams, but Rams were able to hang on. Broncos over Texans 16-9. Denver was going to wake up. I don't know what's going on there. Nathaniel Hackett, his play calling ability looks very subpar. Russell Wilson is not off to a good start in Denver. They got to wake up. You lose to Seattle, one who's got Geno Smith as their quarterback. They're a terrible team. Ruins Russ's big revenge game. And now you barely beat the Houston Texans, who are garbage. Cardinals also had a crazy comeback. They beat the Raiders 29-23 in overtime. They were down 20-0 at the half in that game. Came all the way back. Won in overtime. Byron Murphy scooped and scored a win. Hunter Renfrow. Rough ending to that game. He fumbled. And thankfully got it back, and then the next play he fumbled, and Arizona ran it back. Cowboys upset the Bengals 20-17. Cooper Rush played very well. Brett Maher, game-winning 50-yard field goal as time expired. The Bengals are off to a very bad start. Joe Burrow, he had 4 picks in the fumble. He had 5 turnovers in week 1 against Pittsburgh and had less than 200 yards. Again, this rebuilt O-line looks just as bad as it was last year. He's given up 13 sacks his first 2 weeks. Packers over the Bears 27-10. Something that football. Aaron Rodgers still owns the Bears. Very controversial play in the fourth quarter. It was 24-10 Packers in the fourth quarter. 4th and goal, just inside the 1 yard line. Justin Fields did a quarterback draw. He was rolled short of the goal line. On replay, it appeared that he broke the play and should have been a touchdown, but the call stood, and the Packers ended up going down and getting a field goal, which completely put the game away. Put them up by 17 with under 4 minutes to go. So, although I do believe it was the wrong call, it was very close. That's not getting overturned. It was really a judgment call. It was very close. I did think it was close, although it was the wrong call. Bears, what are you doing in the shotgun on 4th and goal? You're half a yard out and you're going in the shotgun. There's only one thing you can do. You're either gonna throw it, which is just stupid, on the half-yard line. The Packers even has nowhere to go but the middle of the field. Fields is either going to try to go over the top or a quarterback draw. Like, it's too predictable. That's a stupid play call by Packers man plus enough the front of Luke Getsy. Stupid, stupid, stupid. If you give it to Montgomery, it's probably a touchdown. It would have been 24-17, and it's a completely different game. If the Packers get the ball only up by a touchdown, now they got to make sure that they score to make it a two-score game. It was already a two-score game. It just makes it a three-score game when they get the field goal instead. So we completely changed the game. So yes, I do believe it was the wrong call, but that was a terrible play call by the Bears. And for Monday Night Football, we got a doubleheader tonight, 7:15, Titans and Bills on ESPN, and 8:30 on ABC, Vikings and Eagles. And that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.